Just when it feels like the cold and the dark of January will never end, the wheel of the year turns towards Imbolc at the start of February. Now, for many of us, our modern lifestyles are actually quite detached from the agricultural concerns of our ancestors. And this festival can feel a little bit vague and a little bit difficult to connect with. So, in this video, I'm going to be exploring how you can tune into the themes of Imbolc and decide how this festival can enrich your own spiritual practices. Sound good? If so, just give the like button a boop and keep watching. Hiya, lovely. Okay, so let's dive into all things Imbolc. In this video, I'll be giving you a brief overview of the origins of the festival, just so you can put things into context. Then I'll be exploring the spiritual themes that you can draw on in your own spiritual practices. And finally, I'll be giving you some practical tips about how you can celebrate this particular festival too. Now, there are timestamps for each of the 3 chapters down below, so if you feel like you need to skip ahead, or even if you want to skip back just to double check something, that should make life a lot easier for you. Feel free to do whatever works for you. Let's start with the origins. In terms of the Wheel of the Year, Imbolc is a cross-quarter festival. Now, if you're not familiar with the Wheel of the Year, then I've done a more extensive video on that, which you'll find in a card above and a link in the description box below. But as I said, it's a cross-quarter festival. It marks the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And as you can see from the snowdrop in the chart, it's a time when the first signs of spring start to appear, snowdrops being the first to flower in spring. And if you find this particular chart helpful, there's a link to a printable version down in the description box below. To the ancient Celts, Imbolc, which falls at the start of February, marked their official start of the spring season. It also marked the start of the lambing season too. And the word Imbolc literally means in the belly. Some people interpret that as lamb's milk, but either of them are relevant to this particular festival. Traditionally, to the ancient Celts, Imbolc was the sacred day of their triple goddess, Brigid. Now, Brigid was the goddess of fire, of holy wells and sacred waters. She was a goddess of healing and also a goddess of fertility and abundance. Now, if you think about it, at this time of year, the winter food stocks of the ancient Celts would actually be running really low, and they would be, concerned about abundance for the year ahead. So they would weave Brigid crosses and also create bridey dolls as an appeal to the goddess for a blessing, for the safe birth of the lambs that season, and also for a successful harvest for the year ahead. As a triple goddess, Brigid was considered to be in her virgin aspect at this time of year. Now, to the ancient Celts, virgins were really powerful because they were thought to embody the promise of fertility to come. Brigid was also the keeper of the sacred flame as a fire goddess, and so candles were traditionally lit at this time of year in honour of the goddess Brigid, but also in honour of the returning power of the sun. Now, the church later declared the 2nd of February to be Candlemas, which was the purification of the Virgin Mary, and candles were lit in processions in honour of the Virgin Mary. But they didn't fully extinguish the flame of the triple goddess Brigid, which leads us on to the spiritual themes of Imbolc. In terms of spiritual themes, the major spiritual theme of Imbolc is the reawakening of the earth. The ground starts to soften, and the days get longer and warmer as well, and snowdrops appear and the first buds on the trees are emerging. Now, this is a theme for us in terms of us re-emerging or starting to re-emerge from our winter sleep and making preparations really for the more active phase of the year as we move towards the spring. So winter has been a time where we've been very internal and reflective, and now is the time to start to emerge or re-emerge from that time of rest. Another spiritual theme of Imbolc can be found in the word February, in its Latin root februar, which literally means to purify or to cleanse. And so now is a really good time to release what no longer serves us and clear away anything negative from our beings, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Now, on a practical note, this can literally be like the start of your spring cleaning in preparation for the coming spring season to come. Now we've explored the origins and the spiritual themes of Imbolc, let's move on to more practical matters and explore how to celebrate. There are many different ways to celebrate Imbolc, and as I list some of my favourites here, pay close attention to those which resonate with you. So the very first thing that you can do is, as we touched upon in the spiritual themes, is to clear away. Now, I like to start by clearing my altar first. So just clearing away anything associated with winter, really, and making space on the altar. And that also kind of translates into what to do in your home as well. As I said, just release what doesn't serve you. A good decluttering session is really therapeutic at this time of year, and it makes space energetically and also physically for the coming season of spring. The next thing you can do is take a walk in nature and really tune in to any changes that you can see, any buds on the trees, any snowdrops that are starting to emerge, and then crocuses hopefully as well. So that's a really beautiful way to honour the festival of Imbolc. You can also make Bridget's crosses and bridie dolls in honour of the goddess Bridget, as well as lighting candles. That's the ancient Celtic practice of lighting candles to honour Bridget as a fire goddess, and also to honour the returning strength of the sun. Another beautiful way to honour Imbolc is to write wishes onto ribbons and tie those ribbons onto the branches of a tree so that your wishes are carried to Bridget on the winds. Bridget was also a goddess of healing, so now might be the perfect time to get yourself booked in for some kind of healing session, or practice some healing, some self-healing on yourself if you're trained in any particular healing modality. And finally, Bridget was the goddess of holy wells and sacred waters, so you might want to visit a well near you or visit a spring or a river in honour of the goddess of Imbolc. So which of these suggestions resonated most strongly with you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do something else to honour Imbolc or the goddess Bridget at this time of year, then drop those in the comments too, and I'll really look forward to reading them. Imbolc is a festival that's so easily overlooked, but ultimately it's an invitation to prepare for the coming of spring. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, and it will be my pleasure to walk beside you in your spiritual journey. Imbolc blessings, sweet souls. I'll see you in the next video.